You ever see a smile land at the exact wrong second and suddenly the whole room feels colder? That's the energy people swear followed Meghan Markle through some of the most serious royal moments in recent memory. Moments critics say should have been handled with grace, but instead became freeze-frame controversies replayed across the internet in endless loops. It starts high above the crowds at Buckingham Palace during a grand military celebration watched by millions. The balcony is lined with royals, posture perfect, faces composed. Then there's a tiny wobble, a child losing balance for half a second too long. Camera zoom, gasps ripple, and while most faces tighten with concern, online viewers later claimed Meghan and Prince Harry appeared to laugh in that split second. Was it nerves? Shock? An awkward reflex? Maybe, but the internet didn't see nuance. It saw a near fall involving Princess Charlotte and a smile that arrived at the worst possible time. That clip didn't just circulate, it detonated across comment sections, fueling the narrative that she never reads the room. Then came a polished, dignified Commonwealth event, flags, unity speeches, history in the air. A pop performance brought a burst of modern energy when Liam Payne took the stage. The crowd clapped, the atmosphere warm and respectful. But eagle-eyed viewers later claimed Meghan turned to Harry laughing right after the performance ended, as if sharing a private joke the audience wasn't in on. Was she reacting to something off camera? A whisper? A random moment we'll never hear? Possibly, but once again, the narrative wrote itself online, mocking at a national event. Fair or not, that label stuck like glue. And then a night meant for awareness and compassion. An event highlighting autism acceptance where one performer bravely stepped into the spotlight. Applause filled the venue. Yet, critics online insisted Meghan was seen laughing during the performance, a reaction many interpreted as insensitive. Supporters argued clips can be misleading, that laughter doesn't always equal ridicule. But outrage travels faster than context, and suddenly that moment joined the growing montage of bad timing smiles. Fashion Week glamour didn't spare her either. Cameras caught a runway stumble, a model slipping mid-walk. It was one of those blink and you miss it accidents that happen in live shows. But footage appeared to show Meghan reacting with visible laughter before quickly straightening her expression when she realized no one else was laughing. That half-second delay became internet evidence in the court of public opinion. She laughed when others cringe. Again, maybe nerves, maybe surprise. But online, verdict delivered. The most explosive clip of all, according to critics, surfaced during mourning. A global farewell, silence heavy in the air as the late monarch was laid to rest. Faces somber, eyes lowered. And then, for a flicker of a moment, cameras caught what some described as a smirk on Meghan's face. Supporters insisted it was a neutral expression frozen mid-blink. Detractors called it disrespectful. Either way, that still image traveled the world in minutes, dissected like a crime scene photo. In the digital age, a fraction of a second can become a lifetime headline. Years earlier, during a visit connected to regions affected by the Zika virus, local students performed a song referencing mosquitoes, part education, part cultural resilience. Observers online later claimed Meghan laughed through the performance. Her reaction reading to some as over-the-top amusement at something tied to a painful health crisis. Others argued the tone of the performance was lighthearted. But once again, perception beat explanation, and another clip entered the growing compilation. A cultural dance welcome in Nigeria during events tied to the Invictus Games was meant as a gesture of honor. Yet, critics said Meghan was seen laughing and whispering to Harry mid-performance. Cultural appreciation or private joke? We'll never hear the audio. But viewers filled in the silence themselves, and the storyline deepened. She thinks everything is funny. There was also that tense public walk where veterans stood in formation, a ceremony rooted in sacrifice and resilience. Meghan reportedly stepped ahead briefly, then later appeared to be suppressing laughter during solemn proceedings. Supporters blamed nerves, critics saw disrespect, and just like that, the divide grew wider. Even royal customs weren't safe. In an interview moment replayed endlessly, Meghan described learning to curtsy and laughed while demonstrating it. Some saw a self-deprecating fish out of water story. Others saw mockery of centuries-old tradition. Harry's smile beside her only added fuel, with commentators claiming it symbolized shared dismissal rather than shared humor. At another formal gathering, cameras caught her laughing seemingly without anyone speaking to her, scanning the room as if performing for an unseen audience. Was she reacting to something off screen? Absolutely possible. But the clip, isolated from context, became another brick in the online wall. Performative. Always performing. And then there was the handshake moment. A line of greetings, polite smiles, quick exchanges until one pause stretched too long. Meghan looked someone up and down before smiling. Critics called it condescending. Supporters said it was just an awkward pause frozen by camera timing. But in the world of viral clips, intention doesn't matter nearly as much as interpretation. Even food wasn't spared. When offered a dish by a chef, she reportedly laughed instead of tasting it right away. Some called it nerves, others labeled it rude. And in a side-by-side comparison moment, Harry gave a small natural chuckle at a comment during an event, followed by Meghan's louder, more theatrical laugh seconds later. That contrast became meme material overnight, real laugh versus rehearsed laugh. Individually, each clip might mean nothing. Together, critics say they paint a pattern, a duchess whose laughter keeps landing in moments the public thinks demand gravity. Supporters argue the opposite, a woman whose every facial twitch is overanalyzed because she's never been allowed to just be human. Truth probably tangled somewhere in the middle. But online, subtlety doesn't trend. Split-second expressions do. And the more those clips replay, slowed down, zoomed in, looped with dramatic captions, the more the legend grows. Not of what actually happened in those rooms, but of how the internet decided to remember them. One smile, one laugh, one frame at a time. And just when you think the montage of bad timing moments couldn't get longer, the clips keep resurfacing, stitched together by creators who swear there's a pattern hiding in plain sight. Not one awkward laugh, not two, but a trail of split-second reactions that critics claim always seem to land where silence was expected. There was that formal reception where the room felt heavy with protocol, shoulders squared, conversations hushed and careful. People spoke in low tones, the kind used when history and hierarchy are sharing the same oxygen. Then cameras caught her laughing again, not a polite smile, not a soft chuckle behind a hand, but a visible burst that made nearby faces flicker with confusion. Viewers at home didn't hear what sparked it. They didn't need to. The clip circulated without audio, stripped of context, framed as another example of someone out of sync with the emotional temperature of the room. Critics say this is the real issue, not the laughter itself, but the timing. They argue it's like watching someone clap at the wrong beat of a song. Even if the intention is harmless, the rhythm feels off, and once people notice, they can't unnotice it. Every future moment gets watched closer. Every smile becomes suspicious before it even fully forms. One particularly talked about appearance involved a walkabout where she moved down a line of people waiting to greet her. Most exchanges were quick, smile, handshake, step, repeat. Then came that pause. She stopped longer than expected, eyes scanning the person in front of her from head to toe before breaking into a smile. On its own, it could have meant anything: recognition, confusion, a brief distraction. But online, interpretations turned sharp. Commenters claimed the look felt like judgment, like a silent ranking system playing out in real time. Fair? Maybe not. Viral? Absolutely. The narrative hardened, she wants respect, critics said, but doesn't always project it back. And once that storyline took hold, every past clip was dragged forward to support it, like witnesses in a trial that never officially started, but somehow never ends. Then there are the moments where she appears to laugh alone, no visible joke, no one else reacting, just her head tilted back slightly, smiling into open air. Supporters say it's nerves, a coping mechanism under relentless scrutiny. Detractors say it looks performative, like someone aware of cameras at all times, determined to project lightness no matter the setting. The truth could be as simple as social anxiety wrapped in royal expectations, but the internet rarely chooses the simplest explanation when a dramatic one gets more clicks. And let's talk about the rehearsed laugh accusation. The idea that her laughter sometimes sounds staged, bigger than the moment deserves. One clip often compared shows a subtle comment made during an engagement. He lets out a small, natural laugh. A beat later, she follows with a louder, longer one. That delay became the focus. People slowed it down, replayed it, added captions like loading reaction. It turned into meme culture in hours. But what if she just didn't hear the comment right away? What if she laughed harder because she was trying to connect? Those possibilities exist, but they don't trend as well as the idea of someone acting through real life. Food moments didn't escape analysis either. Offered a dish, she laughed before tasting it. Some saw polite surprise, others saw someone avoiding participation while masking it with humor. It's astonishing how a single second of reaction can be spun into a personality profile by strangers who have never shared a room with you. What makes all of this louder is the contrast. She isn't just any public figure, she stepped into one of the most tradition-bound institutions on the planet. That means every gesture is measured against centuries of stiff upper lips and carefully neutral expressions. A misplaced laugh doesn't just look awkward to critics, it looks rebellious, dismissive, even disrespectful. To supporters, it looks human in a system that demands robotic composure. And somewhere in the middle of that clash is a woman whose face is analyzed frame by frame like it's footage from a courtroom drama. Blink too long? Suspicious. Smile too soon? Disrespectful. Don't smile at all? Cold. It's a no-win emotional obstacle course, and yet the highlight reels keep growing. The most intense reactions often come from solemn settings, memorials, ceremonies, cultural performances meant to honor struggle or sacrifice. When laughter appears in those spaces, even for a heartbeat, it hits differently. People project intention onto it instantly. They assume mockery before considering nerves. And because she's already a polarizing figure, viewers tend to see what they expect to see. But here's the twist that keeps the debate alive. None of us hear the private whispers, the off-camera comments, the awkward human moments that happen between formal beats. We see silent clips, cropped tight, looped endlessly. We build entire character assessments from fractions of seconds. In another life, those moments would have passed unnoticed, dissolved into memory before dinner. In this life, they become evidence. So, is it chronic bad timing, social anxiety under pressure, a naturally expressive personality inside a system built on emotional restraint, or just the curse of living under lenses that never blink? Depends who you ask. Ask critics, and they'll hand you a playlist of proof. Ask supporters, and they'll say the same clips show a woman being nitpicked for breathing wrong. What's undeniable is this: laughter is supposed to signal joy, connection, relief, yet in her story, it's become the most controversial sound she makes, even when we can't actually hear it. Just the sight of it is enough to ignite comment sections, reaction videos, and think pieces that stretch for miles. And the next time she smiles at the wrong second, because there will always be a wrong second when cameras roll nonstop, you can bet it'll join the compilation. Another frame. Another freeze. Another debate about intention versus perception in a world that rarely waits long enough to tell the difference.